What's up, everyone? So, today I wanted to do a comprehensive, I say comprehensive guide, but I'm really just going to be rambling here with Stream Chat, and we're going to see their opinion on it. EU video games, right? Um, Perhaps one of the most well known of our universe, but also one of the most confusing because we all love the video games, we all love the stories that they tell, but we often don't even know how canonical artwork. See, video games have a very unique experience. They're a very unique way to tell stories because it's almost like choose your own adventure kind of story at times. Um, that's kind of why they're so different is because yeah, they tell great stories, but with just the nature of video games and doing whatever you want, and that can be bad news sometimes for storytelling for the continuity. So I want to kind of go through it. Now it's a very simple explanation, but I'm going to use some examples along the way. Essentially, with hierarchy, hopefully you know what that is by now. If you don't, look it up. Um, so the hierarchy, video games walked along because there's different aspects of it or both. For example, the core story of all the video games, at least have a story, is considered C canon. The canonical core version of the story is C canon, or at the very least, the loose story threads. I say that because, I mean, if you look at SWTOR, we really don't have much canonical information about that game in terms of story, but a lot of loose threads that no matter how you make your character, you're gonna go, you're gonna do the same journey, right? If you're playing a Sith warrior, in the end, you're gonna kill Darth Barris. Sorry for spoiler. If you're the hero of Tython, the Jedi, you're eventually gonna go kill the Emperor. That's kind of how that works. No matter if you're light, dark, female, male, no matter what goes on, you're still gonna generally go on the same story. That's kind of how that works there for SWTOR. So the loose elements of SWTOR stories canon. And I mean, and the characters you're playing as the hero of Tython, the Emperor's Wrath, Darth Nox. I mean, all those characters that they're the class stories are all canonical characters. We just don't know anything about them in terms of we don't really know about their past. Um, we don't really know anything. So, and it makes it weird. But because the whole point of the game is you get to create the character, right, and then go on a story with them. Force Unleashed, that has a very structured way of the story being told, meaning you're going to go on the same adventure no matter what. However, in the end, you have a light and dark side decision to make. Now, canonically speaking, because The Force Unleashed had both games have a novel, they kind of tell us it's the light side choice in the end. At least for the first game. The second game, I haven't played the second game, so I don't know. But the novel says. But I know the first game and its novel had Starkiller dying. Wait, I think he dies in both. I don't remember, but I know he chooses the light side. Uh, in Unleashed. So then you have KOTOR, which is more so less like SWTOR, in terms of the general. I don't know. KOTOR is weird because there's in terms of character, we have confirmed aspects about Revan. So let me pause here. Jedi Fallen Order's the true story of Star Wars. Isn't how right lands. You know what? It's the best, one of the best. Disney Star Wars stories. I can say that. The Force Unleashed. Why isn't this hiding? There you go. So the Force KOTOR. My bad. We do have canonical descriptions of Revan and the Exile. So, but so I guess it's kind of like SWTOR in terms of the gameplay, in terms of how the character model choosing system works. We just have canonical depictions, and that's because of well, the Revan novel, and there's other sources too that. But so yeah, the this what is C canon in terms of video games is the either the core canonical version of the story, which we may get from novels, whatever, or kind of the loose story threads, which we get from, which are is for like games like SWTOR. But even with SWTOR, there are novels in common or some things along the way. So, here's what's secondary canon. Here's what's secondary canon, S canon. Secondary canon. Let's remember what that is. Secondary canon is those are stories that can fit in the continuity. There are just numerous aspects of them that can't, but generally speaking, it can fit. And that's kind of confusing. And Chris Nelson made a good video about secondary canon and why it's not the best hierarchy in terms of understanding it. But secondary canon parts, basically, the story can fit in the continuity mostly. It's just there's a lot of aspects of it that also can't fit. It's kind of like the novelizations now in the Disney canon. Like for example, the old novelizations of the movies, they're kind of in a secondary canon, kind of quasi canon state right now in the new canon. Parts of it are canon, parts aren't. It's kind of weird. Well, I guess not for the OT because they went ahead and made their own novelizations. But the prequels, those are still kind of in that quasi canon state. But the secondary canon, in terms of the video games, if you have a playthrough of KOTOR, let's say, yet you choose, let's say for Revan, you choose him to be a male, but he chooses the dark side in the end. That's kind of an example of why the way you played the game is, and I'm kind of echoing Mr. Matt Wilkins here because this is how he explained it. The way you played the game, the way you play the adventure, you're gonna have times, and this is no matter what you do to the game, no matter how you play the game, there are parts of the game that are going to be canon, but there's other parts that are not going to be canon. And of course, you're going to go across generally the same story, no matter how you play the game, and that's with all the video games. So that's why the game is considered C canon, but the way you play the game is not. That's secondary canon. Because again, there are aspects of your playthrough that are going to be canon, and then there's other aspects that are not going to be canon. And that's kind of how that works. It may not be the easiest thing to understand, but it's really important to have those kind of rules set down for the video games. That way, it allows the writers of these games and the developers to develop the games in a way that makes the game fun with their own creative freedom, but it also establishes how this game can affect the Star Wars universe or not affect the Star Wars universe. So, and that's kind of why this is why I love the hierarchy. And Disney canon fans, I mean, they'll harp on the hierarchy all day, why it's so bad. They don't understand it. They don't understand that their canon needs a hierarchy more than anything else. Because the fact that they don't have a hierarchy, that everything is on the same level, creates nothing but confusion. It creates. Now, if this was sort of like if this was, let's say, an all movie saga, you wouldn't really need a hierarchy. No, if this was an all book or an all comic or an all video game or whatever saga, you wouldn't really need a hierarchy. No, of course not. But we have all of that together. We have movies, books, comics, television, all kinds of stuff. And that's what makes the hierarchy so important in a universe like ours. Um, because it establishes what pieces of media are. It's not that a piece of media is more canonical or not. Like for example, the movies, I would not say they were more canonical than the books. What I would say is, and I'm talking about old EU stuff. What I would say is that the movies had more authority in regarding canon than the books did. So if there was a contradiction between the two, the movies would win out. And whatever was depicted in that movie, that'd be considered the canonical event, unless the book or another book will somehow retcon the two and they'll be able to be reconciled, and they'll both be considered canonical again. And that's kind of what happened with Boba Fett. When Boba Fett, in the 90s, when Tales of the Bounty Hunters came out, there was, his short story in that book established him to be a Mandalorian journeyman protector from Concord Dawn, and his name was Jaster Muriel, right? That's what it establishes. And of course, the prequels contradict that. Well, it wasn't until 2004, when Hayden Blackman came out with his Jango Fett Open Seasons, that reconciled those two stories and made them work. So that's why Tales of the Bounty Hunters is in complete continuity with Attack of the Clones, because, hey, Jango Fett Open Seasons reconciled it and made everything fit together. And that's kind of the beauty of the continuity there. So for a while, yes, Tales of the Bounty Hunters was not considered canon. But it was kind of re-brought back into the canon, or at least part of it was not considered canon. Because remember, most of that story does not contradict the movies at all. In fact, most of it doesn't even take place when Boba Fett was a kid. Most of it takes place after Return of the Jedi. But it's just that little part, those little pieces of information at the beginning of the story that created problems there. And Jango Fett Open Seasons reconciled everything and made everything fit. So, and ultimately made a good story too. And that's what I love about the EU, is when they saw contradictions, they didn't see an opportunity to just rant about it on Twitter, at fans who are ranting about it, telling the fans that they're being too, I don't know what's the word for that. They're being too demanding or too picky. I think picky's the right word. That's kind of what Disney's been doing when we notice contradictions. No, they said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to make a story out of it. We're going to take this Jaster Muriel, make him a different character, and that was a pseudonym that Boba Fett used, and all that stuff. And they made a good story out of it too. And they made some really cool. It made a cool story, a cool Mandalorian story. But Jango Fett Open Season is a great Mandalorian story. If you love Mandalorians, I think you'll really enjoy that series. Plus, it's also, that comic as well is also a spinoff for the Bounty Hunter game, which Hayden Blackman also wrote, I think. I think Hayden wrote that. I'm positive, though. And then it was also kind of a good prequel story, right? With, foreshadowing the Clone Wars and things like that. So it ultimately all worked out in the end. And I'm really happy about it. So that's kind of how the continuity works. That's how the video games work. With the continuity, yes, they were canon, but your playthrough is kind of canon. It's kind of like that quasi-canon thing. That's kind of what secondary canon was. It was quasi-canon. If that makes sense. But it works. And everything, there's no contradictions in the end, and that's all that matters. So anyway, let's read some comments here. D-Canon, Detour's canon. The canon that basically doesn't exist because that show never came out. Alinima, I think you were like 10 minutes late. Also, what's up with that profile picture? Traitor. D-Canon is just N-Canon with extra status, basically. It's interesting because it was never really confirmed if that it would have been confirmed because there's no way D Canon would have been considered canon. But basically, yeah. And T Canon just belongs in S Canon. Yeah, not necessarily, and I say that because see, Leland Shee said that he was responding to Lucas and his three pillars statement, and Shee said that the Clone Wars, Filoni's Clone Wars, is considered that first pillar. So even though we don't like the Clone Wars, even um, no matter how you feel about that show, no matter how you feel about Filoni, and if you know me, I'm not a Filoni fan at all, but it was first tier. George's pillar, whatever. I think with the recent announcement celebration, there seems to be more synergy. Yeah, I think you meant energy with Disney Canon. Or what does that word mean? I forget. Synergy. How do you pronounce it? Mutually advantageous conjunct. That doesn't help me. A combined action regarding the novels. Oh, okay. I know. I get what you're saying. I've already read this stuff. I promise. Yes, the games for canon, or at least the EU canon, where they depending on the tier. Canon is your guess. It's that gray area between C canon and S canon. That's how I view it. Guess I'm gonna have to. I really wish my comments would go on screen when I ask it to. FT canon, okay, Filoni canon. I wouldn't mind T canon if it at least added the other television stuff on it. It'd be nice. George worked on that show a lot, though. As Filoni never said George didn't work on it. But he didn't write any stories. He just threw ideas out there, and if Filoni liked it or not, he would have included it. George worked on it just as much as he worked on the EU. He gave ideas. He approved scripts or manuscripts. He approved. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say he had no involvement. He had a lot of involvement, but it doesn't really negate. Like, for example, the Mandalorian stuff, I admit that was a George thing because Filoni said it, and I'll take his word for it. But it is well, there's other sources there. I agree. So that's kind of all I have to say about the video games. I hope this will help someone who's interested. No, I didn't really provide any sources, but I mean, this is kind of the conclusion you'll come to if you do research about the canon. Um, how's everyone doing tonight? Where's my phone? Oh. Here's what I'll say about George. I think ultimately he didn't care. These were his baby. That is also true. That's true, but I think what's more important is I wish people would acknowledge, and I know you acknowledge this a lot. I hope you do, but Filoni, George, he had that same amount of involvement on the EU. So Now, of course, he didn't really direct. Can't really direct an episode of books, but he would add character changes and traits and go as far as killing characters off and things like that. Um, the amount of involvement he had with TCW, he also had with the EU. So that's kind of where I stand on that subject, which is a lot. He had a lot of involvement for both. Those people are very toxic. OG Star Wars, maybe not as much. I mean, I went on her channel and she interviewed me, and it was a great interview. But sometimes some of the stuff she says on Twitter isn't the best. But open airlock policy, Stick Kenobi, they're not very let's say nice people, especially Stig. Stig is very toxic and very ultimately annoying. And if you want to take that to him, I'm cool with that. I don't care. I have I have Stig blocked on Twitter. Open Airlock, I think I just unfollowed him. And then who's Tad Lord, who's also have article endorsement work. And they do want a narrative. I will say that. Because I mean, yeah, I don't like Filoni. I don't like his stuff, generally speaking. But I mean, I'll admit the truth. Okay, I mean, you realize I'm siding with Slav, so I don't think I've heard of that group or person. Probably for the best if they're just like them. I don't think calling him a dunce is gonna help you, Sentinel. Sorry, bro. It's not gonna help. And to me, what's most important is, I mean, George didn't write any scripts. He didn't write anything. And write meaning he didn't write any stories. He gave ideas, yes, um, and he of course made the final decision on everything. But um, which is what he did with the E2 is not that different. But it doesn't change anything if he was involved, because ultimately George's word on canon and continuity was null and void because he didn't really know what he wanted anyway, just like you said. So no, you're good, Slav. I ultimately think it's funny. Makes the stream interesting. Interesting. Anyway, what is everyone? Okay, we were speaking about video games. Is anyone currently playing a Star Wars video game, EU video game? Of course, I've been playing through SWTOR for a while now. I finished it, the Jedi Knight and Sith Warrior playthroughs or story modes. Um, she basically already is. I hope not. I really don't want that to happen because I think Din Djarin, I think I like him as a character. I don't have any problems with him as a character, but he definitely is being sidelined. Um, Sort of the story that Bo-Katan's getting now, I kind of wanted Din to get, um, but that's not happening. I wanted Din to be the leader of Mandalore, to lead the Mandalorians, right? That's kind of what everything was kind of setting up to. He got the dark saber, things like that. There was this prophecy that there will be a new age of Mandalorians, that someone would rise. I wanted Din to get that role, but he didn't. Bo-Katan got it again. And it just makes me mad because they're just repeating the story from Rebels. So, Bounty Hunter, but I'm always playing that on and off. You played Sifu? It's a good game, Sifu. I don't know what that is. Sifu. I don't know what game that is. So if I look it up and something inappropriate, will be not doing good. Is a beat 'em up video game? Oh, so it's. I thought Sifu was like a what was the word? I don't remember the word. I thought it was a Star Wars game. No, I haven't played that. I don't really play video games outside Star Wars. I play Minecraft, but outside of Minecraft, I don't really play any other game. And I will be playing Jedi Survivor. If you guys are curious, in fact, I want to do a playthrough of that game again, of Fallen Order. So, because I know that game's coming out in a couple of weeks, so it looks good. It does look like a good game. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. I know. It's going to be hard taking him seriously when he looks like Elon Musk. Because, everybody wanted Lars Mikkelsen to play him. Like, just because he looks like he'll look good in blue doesn't mean he'll be good in blue. So, I think what's really, and I talked about it on Discord, but Pelion and Mandalorian, even despite the fact that he's in it, which I don't think he should be in it, his character was so wrong. There was nothing correct about his character. If you've read the Thrawn books, I mean, he was kind of that guy. He was like your Watson, you could say, because Thrawn was considered your Sherlock Holmes. Pelion was your Watson. Now, I don't really know Watson's character traits because I don't know anything about Sherlock Holmes other than Watson's a character in it. Yeah, modest, intelligent, patient, sensitive observer. That's exactly what Pelion was. But in Mandalorian, he's your typical arrogant, disrespectful Imperial, and I don't like that. That's not who he is. Thrawn is your Sherlock Holmes, and Pelion is his Watson. So it's ridiculous. It's like, why? Why? So, I mean, if they're going to put the character in it, at least get the character's basic traits right. It's just disrespectful to the character, and I don't like it. Now, what I will say, at least they got his rank right. They call him Captain Pelion instead of Admiral. He's not an Admiral yet. Shouldn't be. Oh, Lord. She is here now. I'm not too fond of the State of the Empire and Manda. It's like the Battle of Endor. Exactly. Wouldn't even say it was a setback. It was more so just not impactful. Guys, I mean, it's all. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's so pointless at this point. And to be honest, Sentinel, it's kind of embarrassing you went and got her to join this over something stupid like, oh, there was George involved in it. It doesn't matter. Who cares? That's not even the point of my stream. But what do I know? I don't. I think his looks are the least of our problems. I think his characters. His character. I mean, that's the first thing I noticed after that scene. When I watched it, it was my first thought was, well, that doesn't even feel like Pelion. That feels like a Tarkin kind of character. Um, yes, they do seem interesting. I am interested in them. They look cool. You're good stuff. I just don't want. I don't really want Stig in my stream. I don't want. I guess I can just ban him on the stream, but I don't really want those people in my stream. Those people meaning Stig and Open Airlock. The point of that scene anyway. I mean, with regards to the episode, right? Maybe just setting up maybe what they're going to do in the future. I don't know. But for the episode, that scene had no impact. It kind of just felt like fan service, to be honest. But that's funny. Check my Discord. I don't know. I haven't been really checking it. I came back after Lent and got on it, but I don't really know. I kind of forgot that I keep forgetting I have it. Someone tagged me somewhere or mentioned me. Where? I guess not. I'm also. I know it's not, but it's going to draw a lot from it. If anything, the Heir to the Empire adaptation or will be the Filoni movie. I had a theory that the Masked Inquisitor Ahsoka's fighting Sparsafi, which is possible. Yeah, it is. I don't think I care ultimately though. She's gonna die. It'd be real nice if my comments will show on my stream. Finally. Yes, of course, the games or can. It's just the alternate. Yeah, basically. I'll invite you back to my server. Marcella and I spoke about it. I'm I'm just not gonna let you be a master for now. I'll be back Jedi Knight roll. I'm just gonna let you be a master for now. which I think is a pretty simple compromise. Not simple, a pretty fair compromise. I'll DM you the link on Instagram right now. Button. Wait, I don't think I can just send you the invite on Discord. Slav. New one? Oh, it's just Slav. Okay. I'm sending it to you on Discord, Slav. Thrawn tries to take Lothal out of pettiness in a Silk series. Hope that isn't the case. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I mean, like I said, ultimately, I think the Thrawn, because they're gonna do an Heir to the Empire adaptation. I mean, it's kind of inevitable at this point, especially after one is the Heir to the Empire, whatever. It'll be in the Filoni movie. It'll be the movie. They're gonna say that kind of thing for a movie. It's just what they're gonna do is they're gonna take Luke, Han, and Leia out of it, and they're gonna replace it probably with Ahsoka, Din. I don't know who the third person could be, but maybe Sabine, maybe Hyde, StreamYard. Me. What does Thrawn accomplish in Legends? What do you mean? What do you? I don't know. I don't understand your question. Oh shoot. That's right. I have to unban you. That. um. Slav. I don't know how to do that. Server settings. Bans. Revoke ban. Okay, try now. Should work. Yeah, definitely bait. That's why I was like, I don't know. Yeah, bait. I don't even see that. That was just a callback to the novel. When you change characters and events, it's not an adaptation. No, he pushed the newer, like the Walking Dead show that changed a lot of characters and events, but it's still considered an adaptation. Adaptations don't have to be perfect. And StreamYard, I'm trying to go to the next comment. He pushed the New Republic back on its back, like started cloning a stormtrooper army. Siege Coruscant better than Dala. Yeah. Good question. Probably when he attacked Coruscant, or a lot of his conversations with Pelion, or Outbound Flight when he destroyed that. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, it's been a while because I don't remember this. I need to reread that trilogy. It's been a while, man. I read that thing like 3 years ago. I don't remember that at all. Yeah, it was just the fact he attacked Coruscant like out of nowhere. Like It's funny. When he defended Bastion from the Yuzon Vong, that was my favorite moment. Like my favorite version of him is during the Yuzon Vong War and Force Heretic 1. It was just amazing. It was just kind of cool to see Pelion. Not that he ever, he didn't have guts or anything, but it was really cool seeing him being being not obviously not a threat for us, for the heroes, but a threat for the Vong. It was just really cool. It was a really fun. And it wasn't Bastion. It was afterwards. I don't remember the other planet they had went to afterwards when they escaped Bastion because the Empire lost, but they lost Bastion after the Vong attacked. Um, Pelion was on the he was about to die, and of course he survived, and he went right back at him and defeated him. I don't remember what battle that was, so let me look here. The Arctic one is one of my favorites, and the New Jedi Order because of Pelion. The second battle, is it Beskane? Is that it? No, Borosk. I think it's Borosk. Borosk. Yeah, the Imperial Starfleet regrouped at Yiga Minor before it fell back to Borosk, the temporary Imperial capital. Yeah. The Remnant Force. Yeah, this is the battle I'm talking about, and it was during Force Heretic 1. And yeah, it was this really cool quote that he said. Pelion said, "You may win the occasional battle against us, Vorik." Vorik was the commander, but the Empire will always strike. That was such a cool quote. Why is my phone going off? Shut up, phone. Really cool battle. I think he should have had a better grasp. Well, he was, yeah, I guess. But I think the Moff Council, they ultimately had more. They had more power eventually. I don't think under Pelion, but I think it was Felting. Head to head with the Vong. Told him to leave if he can't fight. Yeah, good stuff. I know, it's great. That alarm. The other day I took a nap. I wanted to get up at 5. So I didn't want to sleep too long. He was? I don't remember that. He was still on back to tank? That's even better. Again, it's been a while. I know that's New Jedi Order. Of course, I remember everything, right? Were you there? Yeah, but that's not what Pelion is. He's a very, he's very much he's not a control freak like the others were. He was about keeping the Empire alive, not trying to get as much power as he can. And that's why the Empire failed. The Empire wasn't trying to succeed. They were just trying to become powerful. That's why Palpatine. I'm checking Slav. Were you able to get back into the Discord? Yes, he's back. I will give you your rank Jedi Knight. But I'm not giving you Master for now. Maybe. Because even to me, never mind. I'm not even getting into that. Not on stream. Yeah, he'd rather negotiate than have power. he very much turned the empire from an autocracy. He turned it into a more so democracy. Not a democracy. Well, kind of a I don't know, not really a democracy, but he turned it into not an autocracy. How about that? And that's why the Fell Empire was so different and so unique. Um, Even though it is the continuation of Palpatine's empire, it's not the same. The Fells obviously were light side users. Aliens could serve as stormtroopers. Women could serve as stormtroopers. And there was really no tyranny. Well, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and go. I need to go pray. And that's what I need to do first, because I kind of made a prayer schedule. Because if there's anything I learned in RCIA, it was schedule your prayers, because you're never going to schedule. If you schedule it, pray. Probably going to read some EU as well. I'm going through Deceived right now. It's pretty good so far. Um, Always, OG. You're always welcome on my channel. And I know earlier I kind of said there's a lot of things I disagree about on Twitter. I don't. Well, sometimes I say it, but I don't prefer to, because I don't want to really start a long argument that leads nowhere. But yeah, if you don't know, OG, I converted to Catholicism. I was born a Baptist. I became Catholic. I received my sacraments on Saturday, Easter Vigil. That's last Saturday, I think. So prayer is a big part of my life. In fact, I think I pray more than I ever have after Lent. So what's up, Steve? I'm just about to end the stream, man. Maybe next time. Be quiet, soft. Let's give it a scream to learn more, of course. I should have an EU read off. I don't know, man. Slav may beat me. Yeah, that's me. Okay, that's not even true, but whatever. It'd be a way more interesting testimony if I was Jewish, though. I will say that. You say that, Slav, but who's read the New Jedi Order near you? Me. So remember that. Anyway, guys, I'm off. Y'all have a great night. Thank y'all for watching.